Good morning, tubers. So here I am back in Total War Arena, and this time around I'm going to be doing a very in-depth guide for you because there just seems to be nothing out there on YouTube at the minute. The game is so brand new still. Literally the only guide that I found was by a guy that couldn't really speak any English and didn't really show you much at all really. So I thought I'm going to take it upon myself to actually show you everything on the first screen. Couple tips and tricks when you're in battle as well to kind of make your game a little bit easier, and I'm just going to explain literally everything that I've found in the game so far. So far I've probably put in 3 or 4 hours into the game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but as this game is literally pick up and play and matches only last for about 10 minutes, it's a fair amount, to be honest. So as you can see on my screen, I'm already a tier 3 commander and I've got tier 2 units. What I'm going to do though is go straight into my commander screen. This is the screen that will come up first, and this is the screen that actually you can look at. You can choose the commander that you want to lead. Now, good point of this game is you can literally have as many commanders as you want. Obviously all the units are tied to the commander, and all your money and everything is account bound, so you can use all your silver, gold, commander experience for any unit you want. If you want to get a really strong commander, obviously focus on the one. If you just want to have a load going all the time, so when you come out of battle with one, then you can go straight into another battle with another. Fucking cat's meowing. Then you can obviously have quite a few on the go at once. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick Leonidas, and then I can show you exactly what you're going to be looking at when you first get into the game. As you can see at the minute, there's 3 different kinds of commander. So you've got your Greeks, your barbarians, and your Romans at the minute. At the minute I am Debased in the Romans, but like I said, I'm going to just quickly pick Leonidas from the Greeks. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be looking at to begin with. So if you're unsure about what commander you want to pick, have a good look through them. Some of them are greyed out for the minute because you've either got to buy them later on with in-game currency, or you've got to try and unlock them, wait for them to be unlocked, sorry, as the developers making the game. But as you can see on the side here, you have a choice of all the different abilities. So these are the abilities that the commander has. You can rank these up. The more you rank up the commander abilities, the more commander ranks up and the better tier units you can get, but I'll explain all that in a little bit. So Leonidas, as you can see, has shield, bash, hold the line, fight in the shade, and battle cry. If you put your if you just have a good read through there, it tells you exactly what it does. So some of them are defensive, some of them are assaultive, and some of them are like rally and war cry, so they really just boost your troops. So just have a good look through, see what tickles your fancy. If you really want to know more about people as well, hit the arrow button up the top here, and that will actually explain a little bit of the history about the character, which I think is a really nice touch, to be honest, because it's always nice games like this to actually learn a little bit about the guys that you are playing with. And this is just quite a nice little short brief of what exactly they're famous for. So we've chosen Leonidas, and first things first, we need to look at the units that we've got. So at the minute we've got 2 militia hoplites, which are the melee characters, and then 1 ranged, which is the Mycenaean archers. At the minute, obviously, because you haven't got any in-game currency, you haven't got any commander experience, then you cannot do bugger all with them. What you need to do first is jump into a game up the top here, hit that, play a couple of games, get some currency, get some experience built up, and then you can actually start doing stuff. Luckily, the game's quite forgiving, and the game is actually really nice, and it does give you quite a few boosts each day. So you get a daily commander victory bonus, which is obviously 100% on everything, which is really nice. Diversity bonus as well. Make sure you're using different units, so you can have 2 different units or all 3 different units once you start getting up to the higher tier ranks there, and you start getting a bit more choice between what you're using. But make sure you've always got at least 2 different units. So at the minute, obviously I've got 2 melee units, 1 archer unit, because this gives you an extra 30% for your, I think it's your silver, or I think it's your unit experience actually. So make sure you're doing that, because 30% is a huge bonus, huge bonus, especially if you're missing out on it. It does make a huge difference. So Obviously, I don't need to jump into a game because I've already got a load of currency and everything built up. So what I'm going to show you quickly. So we've done the commander screen. That's the first screen that you go on. The barracks screen is going to be your best friend generally after you start ranking things up, because this is where you can start choosing all your different units. Obviously, you need to be unlocking these through your different panes, which I'll show you in a second, and this will start letting them be selectable. So you can actually choose them. One thing to bear in mind though, because it has caught me out, your commander's tier. So at the minute Leonidas is only tier 1. I can only use tier 1 units. So your commander tier needs to be at least to the level of the tier units that you want to use, or if not higher. So at the minute on my Germancius, he is a tier 3, so I can only use units up to tier 3 at the minute. So if I jump in here, you can see that, no, I believe actually, no, I am right, that's a tier 4 unit. I'll tell you what, I can't read the Roman numerals. So that's what you want to do though, alright, so you need to make sure that your commander unit is either the same level tier or a higher tier than the units that you want to use. So as you can see, all my units here are tier 2. I can't go up for my melee units here because the next unit I can unlock is tier 4. So I need to unlock tier 4 first for my commander unit before I can get up there. If you notice though, you'll see loads of stuff here. What I'm going to do is go quickly back to Leonidas so I can actually show you what I've done. So if you actually click on one of your units on the side here, it will bring up all the different things that you can unlock for it. As you can see, this uses commander experience. So if you hit that one, that will unlock it, and then what you need to do is actually buy it with the silver, which is this point up here. Let me just explain these quickly. This is the gold. This can be bought. This can be swapped for silver as well. I haven't actually bought any, and somehow I've unlocked 300. I think that's through the daily bonus, because you're getting 100 every time you win your first match. So that's how that's been accrued. So you don't need to put any money into the game. You do get it pretty damn quick. Silver, this is what you use to buy most things in the game, and then you've got your commander experience. But this is what is used to unlock certain things, obviously on your units, on your commander, all the abilities for your commander and all the rest of it. So I'll show you in just a second. But I've just actually unlocked a new helmet for these guys. So what I need to do now is actually buy the thing, and then it will equip it for me. If you forge it, I'm not quite sure what actually happens there yet. I don't think that's been put into the game yet, but just see if you can forge it. If not, I won't worry too much about it. But again, so this time, this is a new shield. So obviously just hit that blue one, that uses commander experience, then buy the thing, and then it will equip people with it. This is how you actually unlock the next tier of units as well. If you can see there, that is the next tier of this unit. So you need to unlock this bow first to then get the option to unlock that one, but obviously this is where the commander level now starts playing into it. You need to make sure your commander's level is matching that tier of unit now. So how do you go up in commander tiers? What you want to do is, still using commander experience, unlock all these different abilities and upgrade them. So this one's not even unlocked yet, so I need to unlock it, and then I can actually start upgrading it. That will rank up the commander, and that will then give you the ability to unlock higher tier units. It's all fairly self-explanatory, but it does catch you out if you're not actually too sure about what's what and all the rest of it. So I've had a really good look at it, and that's the way of doing the unlocking it all. Obviously, the higher the amount of commander experience you're using to unlock an ability, the better ability it is. But to be honest, right at the start, your best bet is to just unlock everything and just use everything that you can, because the more abilities and everything that you have in the game and you can use in battle, obviously the easier it's going to make your battles for you. Especially ones like defensive and assaultive abilities, you can actually use these very, very well to your advantage, and you can literally change the tide of the battle because if you're using your abilities right. Just another quick tip as well, when you start ranking up the units and everything, every time you go into a battle and you lose any, you need to replenish them. So a little button will appear here, and it's generally quite cheap. I mean, to replenish all my units, I even lost the entirety of my missile unit in the last game. It's only cost me 164 gold, silver, which is nothing. I promise you, you make and you accrue a lot of silver and commander experience and unit experience really quick in the game. So don't worry about using stuff like that, just do it, because until you actually replenish your unit, you can't actually go back into the game with that commander. So you got to do it anyway, but it's dirt cheap, absolutely dirt cheap. The last screen is the army screen. So this is literally the whole tree of upgrades split off into different tiers. So you got your tier 1, 2, 3, 4, etc, etc, etc. Actually carry on up. This actually gives you a good lowdown of everything you can unlock per tier. Obviously everything past your commander tier is grayed out, you can't unlock it. It's just an easy way of seeing what you can unlock, what you can build up to is the best way of using this screen, because using this screen I can see from my missile infantry I can actually start going into siege weaponry if I wanted to, but I'm probably going to be focusing just still on archers and missile infantry. But it's a good way of seeing actually how far it does go and what you can unlock really far down the line, like right up until the top tier, which is 10 at the minute. It gives you a really good lowdown and view on what you can unlock and what you can work towards. So if you're really looking at something that you want to unlock, so really super strong archers, have a look through all the commanders, see which one right at the end gives the strongest unit of archers, because I can see straight away that there is no tier 10 unit of archers here, which means that there is probably going to be a commander that has a better tier or a better unit of archers at tier 10. Obviously I'm going to have to make that up with my super strong either cavalry or infantry that I can start looking at upgrading and branching off into after tier 5, as you can see here. So it's all fairly self-explanatory, it's quite easy to look at. Just have a good look at it for each commander, see which commander you really like the look of, focus on that commander I would say, especially for the first 3 to 4 tiers, and then maybe start branching out, start playing with some of the other commanders, and then you can have a bit of a wide range of playability. Now there is a commander you can unlock with commander experience, and always a gold, silver, it might have been silver actually, so I'm quite looking forward to playing that commander. What I'm going to do later on down the line when I start playing, or when I start a career and stuff quite a bit quicker, I'm going to be looking at each of the commanders in different videos, so I can actually split them down into different, what's best for what, who's the strongest at what, and all the rest of it. So keep an eye out for those. They won't be too long, I promise you. So what I'm going to do now, that's pretty much everything that I can explain to you on this screen here. What I'm going to do now is to jump into a game, and then I'm going to give you a couple battlefield techniques, tips, tricks, and all the rest of it. Because a lot of people, just rush straight into it and then wonder why they lose. It's just, don't be so stupid. It's not difficult. Just think about what you're doing. That's the real big thing, is using your abilities and your different units to like full advantage here. People just don't think about what they're doing, and it just bugs me, and I always seem to be stuck on the team where people just haven't got a clue what they're doing. So it's just annoying. So I will catch up with you in just a second though. Right then, so here we are, straight away, before even getting into the battle, you're presented with this map screen here, each with different numbers. This obviously shows you your base, their base, and then you've got all your starting positions as well. What you can actually do is choose a starting position and then just lock it in by pressing play. Obviously, if you want to get into combat a bit quicker, then jump in the front. If you want to try and sort your units out, try and figure out what you're doing, jump in the back here, and that'll just give you a little bit more time before people get over to you. One thing that I have noticed so far is generally people like to rush forward and get straight into the objective, get straight into a fight. If you leave it a little while, leave it a couple minutes and actually play it tactically, you can set yourself up in a really good position. So that's probably going to be tip number 1 there, is just play it slow. You've got 15 minutes per battle, obviously that's the timer up there. Just play it slow, think about what you're doing. So first things first, especially if you're using missile infantry, get missile infantry up somewhere high. The advantages of getting them up somewhere high is it gives you more view range, which is represented by these marks here. This is how far we can view, so my units are viewing up to the riverbed here but can't actually see any further past. If I can get my missile unit up somewhere a little bit higher, that will give me obviously an extended view range, but as well it will give me an extended range of which they're actually able to use their missiles or bows or whatever. If you look at different escalated bits like the mountains here, if you point your cursor right to the edge of them, sometimes you'll see little white marks like this. This will actually set up a unit to branch out across the escalated bit like this cliff top here all the way across. So they won't just be sat in one spot, they'll actually branch all the way out, which is quite good, especially if you're being attacked by missile infantry, because obviously the more spaced out your guys are, the less damage they're going to be taking. This is what I'm just talking about. Just think about what you're doing, think about what could the enemy do, and this is going to obviously play straight into your advantage. Another thing you need to be looking at, because the maps are quite well designed actually and they have been thought about, is there's a lot of bottlenecks. Block these off with melee infantry. Obviously don't use missile infantry because that's just stupid. Missile infantry is not very strong in melee at all, as probably expected. Melee infantry is the best ones of using to block off bottlenecks and all the rest of it, so use these. What I'm going to do for the minute with my guys is probably keep them here because they are protected by my missile infantry. I'm going to pull them back slightly, but I'm just keeping an eye on my base here because the base is actually quite far forward. I obviously don't want people just rushing in and just taking it across the river, so I'm going to try and keep my guys back for the minute and then use them to go back and actually flank people and take people from the rear, which is probably the next tip. If you can, try and use your missile infantry first to weaken and soften up an enemy, and then actually get your melee infantry or your cavalry to attack either from the side or from the rear, and that gives you a huge bonus in terms of just general combat. Each unit has a morale bar and a health bar. Obviously the health bar is quite self-explanatory, that just tells you the unit's health. The morale bar, depending if you're side attacked, if you're rear attacked, or if generally the unit's just losing in battle, the morale will drop. Once the morale drops right down to the lower levels, your units are going to start becoming quite disheartened. They're not going to want to fight anymore, they're going to start running and just leaving, and generally they're no longer combat effective, so keep that in mind. I don't know why there's 5 units chasing after these 3, because that's just opening themselves up. But that's another thing. This is why you want to be using things like side attacks, flank attacks, all the rest of it as much as you can be. Each unit as well, obviously these are based back on the first screen on your commander's abilities, but each unit has a few abilities. If you put your cursor over them, these will tell you exactly what those abilities do. So green is good, red is obviously bad. Alright, so just keep that in mind. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not saying it's bad as such, so don't use it. I'm just using it's only useful in certain circumstances. So with my defensive tuxedo here, they're really good against missiles, but obviously terrible against melee because they've got the shields up and they're trying to stop the missiles coming in, jab them in the face. So obviously, as people, if they're fighting people though, and they've got their shields up like that, they're not that effective melee. So that will be the reason why they're not so good at melee attack whilst using that ability. But as you can see, my archers have an ability, my melee have an ability. So have a good look through all those as well. Learn the abilities and learn when best to use them. So if you've got a charge ability like the heavy infantry charge, this makes a huge difference if you do go from the side or the rear, because this absolutely destroys enemy unit morale. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, so use your missile infantry as best you can, elevate them as much as you can, play a slow game, play a tactical game. That's the best way of doing it. Once you start getting to the last few minutes, and if nothing's really happened, or if you're doing better than the enemy, which we are, which I'll explain to you in a second, rush your guys over to their base. Once you get people sat in the base, it will capture the base, which is obviously a good thing, which is what they're doing to us right now. which I hadn't noticed. I'm going to have to charge them from the front here because these guys have been absolutely destroyed. I'm going to have to move my missiles up onto this cliff. Oh, these guys have absolutely destroyed us because these guys have all run off after something. This is what I'm talking about. People don't think about what they're doing. So, as you can see, we've just been absolutely dominated, so we are going to lose this one, unfortunately. But generally, a way to tell how you're doing in battles are these numbers up here. This unit represents the amount of allied soldiers you have remaining, so this is soldiers out of all of your teammates, including yourself. This is your allied points, so obviously the more combat units you're destroying of the enemies and the more you're capturing the flag and all the rest of it, the more combat points you're going to have. So obviously that's usually going to show you that you're doing a bit better than people, but unfortunately in this game that's not the circumstance because these guys have absolutely flanked us and turned around and just absolutely done us, and now my guys are getting destroyed because my guys are unfortunately the only ones fighting now, so we've just been done. But there's not much else really I can go into, to be honest. Top bars here, obviously how much the flag has been captured, so keep an eye on those. If you do see yours going up, which is the red one, if the red one's going up, that means they're capturing your flag. So get back to your flag quick as you can, because you aren't going to survive a game if you let them pinch the flag, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. Think about what you're doing, play a slow game, use tactics, use your abilities is really all I can say, to be honest. Once all your units are destroyed out of a game, which unfortunately mine have been, it does give you the option to leave, as here. However, you cannot use that commander now until you finish that, or until that game finishes. Once that game finishes, it will pop up with all your rewards, how you did, how your team did, what you got, and all the rest of it. But that is it for this beginner's guide, is probably what I can call it. I hope this has helped you. I've tried to go into depth as much as I can into stuff. Yeah, I've covered everything that I can really cover, to be honest, at the minute. Jump in. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get myself a few more keys so I can offer them out to you guys, because you guys seem to be really interested in this game, which I don't blame you because it is a fabulous game. It's a fantastic game. So I'm going to try and get some more keys. Keep an eye out on videos like that. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button wherever it is, probably down here somewhere. Hit that subscribe button, obviously then you'll be kept up to date with any more videos I release in the future. I'm going to be doing loads of Total War stuff because I'm absolutely loving this game. It's just so nice, you can just pick up and play and you don't feel like you've got to chuck in hours and hours of your time to get anywhere. So I'm going to be doing that, and like I said, I'm going to be looking at all the different commanders in turn as well once I've leveled them up a little bit, so I can get a bit of an idea of how they play, how best to play them, and all the rest of it. Just be wary of what you're doing on a game. Just be wary. That's the only thing I can say. But as you can see, the battle results have popped up here now. So this is all the silver I've earned, this is commander experience, and then you've got all your unit experience and everything as well. So it's all fairly self-explanatory, and it tells you exactly all the bonuses you got as well. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's helped you somewhat. Apologies I didn't win. I can't unfortunately win them all. I would love to. But thank you for watching, guys. I hope it's helped, and as always, I will see you in the next one.